Today I'm playing with my experimental 346. This is a personal saw. I've been playing with this this setup probably 4 or 5 years now. The base of this saw is obviously a 346. I built this configuration on the 350 platform before. A buddy of mine makes 3mm spacers to go underneath of a 353 top end, in which I put a McCulloch Titan 50 thin ring piston. It is a pop-up piston, or a domed piston, I'm sorry. This is just stuff I do in downtime. Like right now I'm waiting for parts. Kind of experiment with some port work. This thing is not really a wood saw. It's a toy. Try to get absolutely everything I can out of it while it will still run reliably for a day. Yeah, I'm going to time it now, see where my ignition's at, and I'm going to shoot for around 28 degrees when I'm done before top dead center. Pretty much just a follow along video of me having downtime and just find something to do, be productive. And this coil is old enough. I had forgotten I swapped it out for an unlimited coil off an old, I don't know, probably first or second year 350. It has no ignition advance. So we're just going to set it up so I'm going to be about 28 degrees before top dead center, and then I'll redo this test to verify, just to make sure I'm not getting too far out ahead of it. And we'll go from there. I'm going to switch her over to the degree wheel and get some numbers, see what I got to adjust, and then I'll pull the top off. I'll probably record all of that. And as some of these projects usually go, the cylinder I used that I wood supported and stuck this all together for testing had a like a time cert in the cylinder. The threads must have blown out of it originally, and somebody had put a time cert into the cylinder. What they do there is there's a tool that reams this out and makes new threads. And then a steel insert is applied to that with a little bit of a bonding agent. When you do these, and I do have a video on doing them, the insert must be below flush of the mating surface for the seal. If that insert sticks up past where the washer mates and surfaces, it grabs onto the insert. So every time you turn the actual plug in, it grabs a hold of the insert and tries to turn the insert as well. Likewise, when you pull it back out, like it just did, pulled the whole insert out. So I'm gonna have to put a new insert in this cylinder. So obviously I couldn't use my piston stop, the only reliable way to set your degree wheel. So I couldn't get any timing on it. I'm gonna have to repair the cylinder first. And then I'm gonna have to pull it, repair the cylinder. I'll show you guys some of the port work I've done already, and then I'm just gonna have to reassemble it, dry, and time it. So as these things usually go, when they're kind of cobbled together saws and they're on your own time, probably gonna have to cut a couple pieces out of the video just so I have the time to do this in general. But I'll show putting the time cert, the new time cert in, and how you set that. I'll show you the port work on the inside. It's all roughed in work, nothing for show. because it is mine. I just wanted to prove some numbers worked the way I wanted them to work. And then I'll, like I said, I'll get the timing numbers, and then I'll advance the flywheel. Maybe I'll show you a little bit of how I do that and set that up. So yeah, I'm gonna get this cylinder pulled. I got the top end pulled here. My scavenge pattern looks really nice. You can see how clean that is, how much wash I got off to the side, and then I've got my exhaust flow straight towards the exhaust. I do see that a couple times at max RPM, my spark plug may have contacted the top of the piston, so I'm gonna have to make a little bit of a change there. But back to fixing this cylinder. These are the sleeves. You can use Fix-A-Thread. TimeCert makes one. They come with a toolkit. This is your tool for rethreading, oversizing for the sleeve itself. This grabs into the original threads, and it's got a cutter right here that cuts it out to the proper size and then rethreads it. And this is your driver tool. It has a flare on here, so once you get this past flush, it flares the top row, which have teeth right there that dig into the aluminum. I'm gonna run this through here and clean it. So I can run that new one in there nice. Obviously you would need a ratchet to do this if it was a fresh repair, but I'm just cleaning out the threads right now. Brake clean a little bit, get her cleaned. And all the things that I didn't plan for on this build. I've got a mess going on over here. Looking for my sealant. Wonderful. Found it. All right. Now we're going to put the new insert in. I'm going to put a little bit of a sealant on here. It's a high temp anaerobic. Get that guy to start. Maybe. As these things usually go. Get her run in. And you want that past, like I said a couple times before, this is critical. You've got to get that insert so it's past the mating surface that the spark plug rests on. If you do not do that, it puts torsion on the sleeve itself when you're bringing the plug in and out for maintenance. So it is recessed slightly. Turn you a little bit here. And you take your tool, your flaring tool, like so. Give it a nice pop. And you can hear now that went up against the metal mating. You can hear the difference in the tone when you hit it. Now that's up, this flare and then this collar went up against the actual mating surface of the cylinder. So now we've got that set, and you can see, hopefully, that it is recessed ever so slightly. When you do these, make sure you get the proper length so you're not going down into the cylinder, or the combustion chamber, I should say. After that little sidetrack though, what we have is a 353 top end I pull the caps. These are very easy to port. About anybody at home, even with a Dremel, could do it. Just make sure you get your numbers right. Opened up the sides quite a bit, widened the intake and lowered it ever so slightly. And on this piston, you can see my exhaust, but on this piston, the ring pin locators ride on either side of the exhaust port, so you can't go very wide. On camera it looks streaky, but that's just oil residue. It is perfectly smooth. You can see my intake there, and I already did work over the carb on this one. I'm going to clean that up a little bit before we get our timing numbers on it. The muffler itself is just, I cut an extra deflector off another 350 because I have piles of 350s around here. Made an extra hole. I like that look. It looks kind of factory. And the piston itself is a McCulloch Titan 50 piston. Oh, you can see it, maybe. Windowed piston. Right there. You could really call it a slab side window, but there's the top of the piston. You can see the thin rings and the locator pin on it right there. Really nice pistons, weigh a little bit less than the factory ones. Pin height is 3 millimeters taller on that piston than it is on the stock one. So what we have here, if I can get it off, is a spacer that buddy Mike machined out for me. And that just mimics the bottom of the cylinder itself, its base. Run a longer screw through the case. Make sure I got a good bite there. But that gives me the ability to run that piston in there. Pretty slick setup. Well, I'm going to pull the rings, get it timed, and since this has already turned into a mess of a video, I might do a little port work on it. Who knows? Due to time constraints, I'm having to pick the kids up in about an hour. I did retime it, set it all up, verified I had everything set properly. My timing numbers I ended up with, I went with 96, 122, and 78. We'll see how that runs. Factory ignition timing was right at 25 degrees. I'm going to push it closer to 30. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to grind the keyway just slightly so I can rotate it. I'll show you how I do that. I also have a video on the steel, what was it, the 201T, and how, a pretty in-depth video on how to advance the timing on a saw, and a couple of them with the using the timing light to figure out where you're at. I'm going to grind that key just a little bit right now, and then show you how I fit it, and see where we're at as far as timing goes. Looks nice and clean. What we do there is remove just a little bit of the key. It's about a quarter of the key is slanted away, so I can rotate the actual flywheel a little bit counterclockwise to advance the timing. Set her up right there. Stock. Spin here. There's stock. Get her to match my marks. quite enough slop, so I'm going to grind a little bit more. You want to leave as much of the key intact as you can. At any point you think you've damaged a flywheel, if it looks cracked, if it doesn't sit down on the taper properly and you hammer it down and you ever think that a flywheel is compromised in any manner, get a different one. These things explode. It's not for the faint of heart. When they blow up, they'll take the recoil out. Can be quite dangerous. Fit it up again. There we go. Got just a little bit of rotation, so I'm going to look at my marks that I got right down here and right down here. That is factory, backed up clockwise. I'm going to rotate it another 5 degrees right there. Now what I'm going to do, there we go. That's in place. My socket. Set that there. Give it a tap. That just holds it in place. Make sure it doesn't move on you. Hammer her down. There we've got 5 degrees of advance, should be right at about 30 degrees, running about 13,000, 14,000 RPMs, hopefully around 12 in the cut. That should be about right. I'm going to start to reassemble it. Then I'll probably have a video of it after. It's got to set for a day or so, let the sealant set up. So we'll follow through on a different video. Wasn't the video I had planned by any means, but hey, this is what happens when you're working on any kind of equipment day in and day out. So, hope you enjoyed it. A little insight in what I do throughout the day.